Okay, hi there and welcome to another Ben Golding Guitar Masterclass. This week we're going to be looking at some classic Johnny Cash, a real good song, Falsom Prison. We're going to play this one in exactly the same key as the Johnny Cash version. So the first thing I want to do before we go through the chords, and this one should be quite simple, it's a very repetitive kind of country blues chord sequence that just goes round and round. But the first thing we're going to do is put the capo on the first fret, which is exactly the way the same key that Johnny Cash used to play this song in. But obviously if you don't have a capo, just get used to the chords and you can easily just practice it without the capo on. Just try and get a good idea. The most important thing is getting the strumming patterns and getting the song in order and stuff. But we're going to do it the Johnny Cash key, which is capo on the first fret. Okay, the next thing I want to do is go through the chords very quickly. You might already know these, so if you do, you might want to just skip the video forward until I'm going through the actual chord sequence of the song. If you do want to catch up on these chords, feel free to take your time with this chord tutorial just at the beginning here. So with the chords we're going to use, we've got E, regular E major, we've got E7, we've got A7, we've also got a B7 as well. Okay, so first of all we'll look at the E major. For this one you get your first finger on the third string in the first fret, your next finger on the fifth string in the second fret, and your next finger underneath that on the fourth string in the second fret. And with this one you strum all the strings. Okay, next up we'll have a look at the A7. For the A7 we've got our first finger, you put your first finger on the fourth string on the second fret, and you put your next finger on the second string in the second fret. And for the A7 we're trying to strum 5 of the strings. You're trying to avoid hitting the top one, it's just the 5 strings below. Okay, last of all we need the B7. We've got 2 more chords. We need the B7 next up, which is first finger on the fourth string on the first fret, fourth string on the first fret. Next finger goes on the fifth string in the second fret. Next finger goes on the fourth string in the second fret, and then your little finger goes on the second fret on the first string right at the bottom. And for this one we're trying to hit 5 of the strings again. You're trying not to hit the top string, the bass E, just the 5 below that. Okay, and just a little corner, I don't want to encourage too many bad habits, but with this one, if you are just starting out, if you miss out the little finger on the first string, it still sounds quite a reasonable B7 there. So if you're having real problems with that little finger on the second fret on the first string, you can just leave that one out and you'll still get a reasonably good B7 sound. But to get it perfectly, you do want that second fret first string there, that's your B7. Okay, and last of all I did say we're going to be using the E7 as well. So the E7 is just taking that E major chord, the first chord we looked at, and you put your little finger on the second string in the third fret, and that gives you E7. So just looking at that again, you've got the E. Okay, turn that into an E7 by putting second string, third fret down with your little finger. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at those chords in order. We're going to go E, E7, A7 and then B7, just to very quickly check them. So just the E. Okay, you remember there's your E major. And then if you just try little finger on the second string, third fret, that gives you a nice E7. Then A7. There we go. And then let's finish off on the B7 there. So there's your B7. Okay, now the great thing about Falsom Prison is it just loops around the same chords all the way through. Yeah, it just does one sequence of chords. So what we're going to do is do it very slowly, just getting used to the chord change, which are straightforward. And then I do want to give you a nice little Johnny Cash strumming pattern, which does tend to work with quite a few Johnny Cash songs. It's a very generic country sort of strumming pattern, so it will work with a lot of others. Once you get the hang of it well, you can use it in a lot of other songs as well, which is quite handy. Okay, so the chords will be coming up on the screen now as well, so you can just whiz through and just keep practicing over and over, but I'm just going to do them very, very, very slowly for you, just with a simple downstroke on each chord before we look at the up-down strumming patterns. So what we want is, first of all, it starts off with E major. So we've just got this coming straight in, E, 2, 3, 4, E major, 2, 3, E7, 3, 4, E7, 2, and then to A7, 2, 3, 4, A7, and then back to E, and 1, 2, 3, E again, 2, and then B7, and then back to E. Start again, and E and 2 and 3 and 4, and E and 2 and 3. E7, 2, 3, 4, E7, 2, 3, A7, 2 and 3 and 4, A7, and back to the E, 2, 3, 4, and E, 2, 3, and B7. Start again, and E and 2 and 3 is the song. E and 2 and 3, E7, E and 2 and 3 and 4, E7, 2 and 3, A7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and back to E again, 3, 4, E2, B7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and again, and back to E again, 2, 3, start again. Okay, and like I said, the strumming pattern, probably the best way to do a nice Johnny Cash strumming pattern, it's basically a kind of, we will go through this in more detail, but a kind of a sort of a E7. Okay, so all we're doing for that, the best way to start it is a down strum and trying to only really connect with the 3 bass strings, the 3 at the top. Yeah, like a nice bassy down. And I'd say after that, you do a full down stroke, bass down, and then really all you need to remember, bass down, and then after that, bass down, down, up, bass down, down, up, bass down, down, up. And really it's just that first one where you're more connecting with the bass strings, and then all the other ones are kind of full strums after that. And again, just slowly, bass strings, bass, strum, down, up, bass, 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 down, up, okay? So you might want want to do, what I always recommend to anyone I'm teaching is if you go back and you do maybe just each chord in turn, E, E7, just slowing it down, speeding it up, just trying each chord. And then when you feel really comfortable with that pattern, you should be able to put them all together and play the song quite well. If we just try it a few times, just using that pattern. So bass, down, down, up, bass, down. Okay, so you've obviously got these chords on the screen again, so just give it a shot. Again, you might want to go back to the slightly slower, me playing the chords slightly slower and play along with that if you're starting out, but just crack on and we'll try it with the full strumming pattern. Okay, 3 and, sorry for counting. There we go, kind of a nice even tempo. Something like that. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's it. That's the four final chords for Johnny Cash there, Falsom Prism. And also, just any of you have heard the introduction there, you've got this real simple... Yeah, that's all it does. It's just really simple, so I might as well just go through that quickly. All you need to do, a little bit more intermediate, so maybe just get used to the chords, but if you do fancy that bit there, all you do is you hold down a B7 chord, and you basically just twang just over the B7, you're going 5th string, 5th, 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 4th, 4th, 5th, yeah? Just those strings, 5th, 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 4th, 4th, 5th, and then you go to the 3rd fret on the bass E, and then you start the strumming pattern. Okay, and if you're really comfortable with your string bending and stuff, on that 3rd fret on the bass E, give that a little bend there. Okay, so that's going B7, 5th, 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 4th, 4th, 5th, 3rd, E. Okay, so one more time, just on that B7, 5th, 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 4th, 4th, 5th, 3rd, E. That's how you start the song. Okay, so it should be pretty straightforward and easy, but just keep going, even if you're just practicing it chord by chord and stuff. It's very, very good for your standard country blues, country rhythm patterns. Give those chords a try. Try singing a song if you're a vocalist as well. Great, great classic Johnny Cash. It'll sound great. Enjoy it. Practice it loads. Be a brilliant tune to do. And I'll see you next time for more great songs. All the best. Cheers.